The Urban Dictionary defines Kino as follows: the highest tier of artistry in motion pictures. Plebeians aren't ready for Kino, as they would have trouble picking up on the subtle sociological themes and masterfully executed yet intentionally mistransmitted messages that always seem to fly right over lesser minds undetected. Deadly Premonition was the worst game I have ever played. It's also one of the best games I've ever played. Deadly Premonition was released on Xbox 360 in 2010, and in 2013 there was a re-release called the Director's Cut on PS3 and Steam. Now, finding the game on consoles is almost as rare as getting the Steam version to work properly without starting a house fire, which is probably the best indicator of the game's quality. Thankfully, there's a new port called Deadly Premonition Origins on the Switch, but for some reason, only some of the content in the Director's Cut is still here. It has the same control scheme from the DC, but the extra scenes are gone for some reason. Otherwise, though, it's definitely a faithful port of the original game. The game runs about as smooth as a stick of butter thrown through a cheese grater, but that's just the Deadly Premonition experience TM.
Previously during the investigation.
Deadly Premonition's story follows FBI agent Francis York Morgan, aka the best fictional character in history, and his investigation of a strange murder in the rural American town known as Greenvale. During your stay, you'll meet all sorts of quirky characters like the uptight police chief George, the crazy pot lady Sigourney, Keith, yeah! And Emily, who is a woman. But, as I've said before, Francis York Morgan just blows everyone away. First off, call him York. Everyone else calls him that. To give you an idea of how much of an absolute beast York is, here's a list of his quirks. He shows his badge to everyone he meets. Everyone. His first appearance shows him driving down a street while playing on his laptop and talking to his friend about how Tom and Jerry have a codependent relationship. He speaks to his invisible friend named Zach. All the time. He looks for answers to crimes in his morning coffee. And to top it all off, he has an extreme obsession with 80s movies, somehow working one into as many conversations as possible. And that doesn't even begin to cover all the little things York does. This is the same guy who talked about a serial murderer, and then 5 seconds later says that he's insane because of his hygiene habits. Just replace 80s movies with video games and anime, and York is just like me. Seriously though, I do like York. Somehow they made him just the right amount of goofy and actually intelligent. He's still the best equipped to handle the case out of anyone, regardless of his oddities. A lot of people call Deadly Premonition Twin Peaks the video game. Now, I have seen exactly 0 episodes of whatever Twin Peaks is, but there's more than enough articles online explaining all of the similarities. In fact, when Deadly Premonition was first announced, York looked like this, and he was later changed to not be Dale Cooper from Twin Peaks. Thanks to the rigorous detective training I've went through playing this game, I can reasonably deduce that Deadly Premonition may have taken some inspiration from the other small-town murder mystery thriller concept. It's so similar that I can make a post online about the best Twin Peaks character, include some not-so-subtle nods to Deadly Premonition, and somehow convince most of the comments that I was talking about Twin Peaks. Anyway, Deadly Premonition plays out like an open-world game, so you'll be either driving around town doing side quests or going through the main story and solving the mystery. Now, normally when I play a game, I ignore most side quests to finish the game as fast as possible. However, the side quests in Deadly Premonition are actually really good. They're all short, feature a character that doesn't get enough spotlight, and give you an actually useful reward. I love how these little errands can give you more tidbits about the town and its people, and it's fun to spend a relaxing in-game day where your only concerns are the road ahead of you and the Attack of the Killer Tomatoes DVD box set. And the rewards can be anything from a speed upgrade for your car to weapons that somehow make the combat bearable. Yeah, the combat in Deadly Premonition is the video game equivalent of drinking a bottle of water that's been left in a hot car. Every so often your comfy Greenvale romp is suddenly stopped by the appearance of zombie people that just slowly walk towards you. They really aren't that difficult to deal with, but the real annoyances lie elsewhere. Firstly, your weapons can either break or run out of ammo, which wouldn't be so much of a problem if you didn't have limited inventory space. I frequently found myself just resorting to the slow pistol you have from the start just because of its unlimited ammo. Thankfully, there are better weapons that aren't tied down by mortal desires that can be gained through side quests, so it's not a problem for too long. However, my real issue is how irritating these sections are to navigate. Suddenly places like a mansion or a hospital become stupidly long mazes with all sorts of twists and turns and a map that isn't the best. It could just be a me problem though, because like my desire to eat anything other than Kid Cuisine Carnival mini corn dogs, my sense of direction is virtually non-existent. But overall, the parts of Deadly Premonition where it tries to go full horror just don't do it for me. Okay, so maybe by now you see what sets Deadly Premonition apart from the other games. If you haven't, here's a hint. Everything. It's not called the room of video games for nothing. So this is like the room of video games? Something so laughably bad that it's entertaining? I'm debating whether this is worth $20 when I could get a game that is legit good for that price, lol. Well, I'm sorry you can't make up your mind, Green Butter. If I could list everything that's just a little bit off about this game, this video would be several hours long. From York's disgusting protruding lip to the way everyone just sorta sways when they're standing. It's all just odd. Just a little though. This is what originally drew me and many others to this game in the first place. I love so bad it's good stories about as much as TV tropes users love Doug Walker. Oh my god. So when I began the experience, I was fully composed to guffaw at its utter failure to be a good video game. And then I played it. And then I played it some more. And then I realized, Deadly Premonition is good. It's really good. It's weird, it's awkward, but the characters are interesting, the story is engrossing, and the atmosphere is great. All of a sudden I stopped caring that York is too quirky to be a real person, or that they're playing happy music after talking about a murder. I was surprised how much the oddities added to the atmosphere. If people from a real rural American town try to make a video game, I think it would be really similar to Deadly Premonition. There's just so many eccentric and fun ideas crammed into this game. For example, you'll be paid money for shaving and changing your clothes regularly. Who exactly is giving you this money? Where is this money coming from? I've recited the following phrase to my corrections officer many times, and I will gladly recite it again. I don't care. It's funny. I don't want to get too meta here, but I feel that too many people think that comedy and drama exist as binary states, as if you're either one or the other. Pause to allow the audience to understand my next level analogy. And sure, there are stories that regularly shift from funny to sad or funny to dramatic, but I've rarely seen stories that try to be both at the same time. Deadly Premonition is really something special because it proves that you can tell a great story without being serious about it at all. I honestly can't tell if the stilted dialogue and strange cutscenes are intentional or not, and that's awesome. I haven't said much about the story yet, and that's because I wouldn't spoil it for anyone. There are some twists that are so well hidden you can't tell if the hints are real or just an accidental plot hole. At no point could I tell where the plot was going to go next, and I can't say that about many stories. There's really nothing else like it, and that's how Deadly Premonition was the worst game I've ever played, and is now one of the best. Don't you agree, Zach?
Well, thanks for bringing back such a wonderful memory. I can't give you this